Hello everybody there. My name is Francisco Cardenas and I'm an English teacher at la Universidad de Cundinamarca Girardot branch, and I want to present you today the project that I'm working on or with, that I call, or that my students call, Branding English, right? This is a second name that my students gave to this activity because let's say that the official name is Fortalecimiento del Inglés a través de una extensión con un marco de investigación. That's the name that I gave to this project, but after that I wanted to switch this name for the one that I tell you before, which is Branding English, and I will tell you why. Branding English was called by my students. I asked them to bring some names for the group, and they came with this. And they also came up with the slogan, and then with an image, a nice image that I saw it beautiful and I like it a lot. I will show you later for you as part of the evidences. What do I want to do with this group? What I want to do with them is to trying to speak more in the classroom and outside the classroom as well. Sometimes you come to the class with everything, with all the materials ready, a very well organized lesson plan, and a suitable method to have your student learning, but this is not enough sometimes. Even if you put this together in a very organized way. My experience has shown this, and some other teachers' experiences as well. Teachers are not able, some of them, the most of them actually, to perform in front of other students or to speak in front of other students or have conversations when people are involved in this. So after this, it came to me these two questions: why this happened in the classroom, this situation, and what are the variables? What are the variables to consider regarding the development of speaking skills, right? I consider that this is an important project because what I'm trying to do is to help to relieve the nervousness and the anxiety that some students feel when facing the English language in their foreign skills. Some researchers have shown that the anxious foreign language students are less willing to participate in learning activities and have lower performances than non-anxious students. This is something said by McIntyre and Garnett in 1991. The first one is to find out how do the students' perception or interpretation about their hardship moments and how they cope with them could help understand the causes of their anxiety levels. And the second one is to identify how to use the resilience, a concept that I'm going to speak later, contribute to overcome the foreign language anxiety. Related to this, I want to say something that my idea is to find an intent or relief. What? The way the students deal with the difficulties related to the anxiety. This is a constraint. Students just do not try to take the language learning as real subject, and this happens perhaps because the emotional part related to learning a language is left aside. After all, it's better just forget about it. You know, you just don't care about it. Just teach what you have to teach, say what you have to say, and that's it. You don't really care sometimes what they really are learning or not learning. To find information about this, I went through several authors with the purpose to find a way to reduce the anxiety in my students. At the beginning, I considered Krashen, yeah, and this theory that he has about affective filter, but at the end, I finished coming into one concept that is called resilience. Before I went to resilience, I also went through cooperative learning. Cooperative learning is about accomplish goals, shared goals as a group together, right? So learners come together working in groups, but then I realized about this resilience that I was speaking before. What is resilience? Resilience is a conception that came from Nan Anderson. She's an American magister in social work that runs a company there called Resilience in Action Inc. It was founded in 1996. There are some other people working in this, but she's the most important lady in this. How she defines resilience? Resilience is defined as an individual's ability to properly adapt to stress and adversity. You can do this in social psychology and many other fields, but since our field is languages, I take this to put them into our English classroom, right? Um, so, having this into account, it is like saying that in another words, resilience is the ability that individuals have to bounce back from a negative experience. English, for many of the students, is a negative experience. So my idea here is to give them all the tools, the necessary tools to bounce back this experience. This is why I have like joined those two conceptions together. The first one, which is foreign language anxiety from Harvard, and the second one that is resilience that has been developed by Nan Anderson. So having these two concepts together, I mean, one is like the resilience going against the foreign language anxiety. By doing this, I pretend to have my students learning and having the confidence to speak, to overcome this fear that sometimes they have to speak because other students bullying, because they don't feel acceptable when they are speaking, and so on. That's why I brought several actions to my sessions, to my project, to my workshops. The first one was to create a branding English group through WhatsApp. In here, the idea was to have the students doing some challenges. Every 2 weeks or every 1 week, the students, two of them, have to perform some challenges, showing the challenge, giving what they have to do step by step, and doing the challenge through a video. Then post this video to the WhatsApp group, to the Branding English group. After that, all the students supposed to be performing this challenge or telling what were they about to do or what didn't do the challenge if they weren't able because some of them were really hard. Yeah, for example, Steven Skoski, that is part of the group, he asked for a challenge. It was doing some tricks with the rollerblades. So he was going backward and forward and things like that. So some of them couldn't do that, but they actually explained what they did, how they did it, if they try, if they considered that what was difficult or not. So they were speaking, they were speaking on their own, trying to have themselves giving explanations on why they did or not did something. In this case, the challenges, right? Steven Skoski also sent a challenge, but as well we did some other activity with Steven Skoski. He's a professor in the United States, a teacher, and Spanish teacher. We have a connection, so he invited my students to have a session, and the idea was to ask questions and introduce ourselves in English, of course, for us, the Colombian students, but for them, for the students, the Steven Skoski students, they were having presentations in Spanish and asking questions in Spanish. So it was like nice because we were interacting both languages, Spanish and English, for them Spanish, for us English, and we had a good moment. I think we have to, of course, replan some things that were not uh, well performed at all. There were some stuff that they need to be changed, but we are on the way to do it. We are on the way to do it. I'm going to put in the at the list of, in the last part of the video a Steven video inviting my students to the session on that day. What we also did, among others, but now I have in mind this one, is to have my student going to Unicentro Mall. There, well, I invite my students to a coffee there. We were having some like preview, like warming up, asking questions. They were like, um, I had a answer, and for me the answer was blue. I was explaining to them what is blue, so my question was inside my head. I didn't tell my question. I gave them my answer, so they have to guess what was the question about. I say, okay, my answer is blue, right? You have to tell me what is the question, and they were all of them trying to find out, or they trying to figure out what was the question that I did. And some of them gave real interesting questions, yeah. And one of them I remember went to the point. It because that was my favorite color, yeah. Sometimes were easy, sometimes were not so easy, and the rest of them did the same activity. And after that, I have my students going into the mall. I give them a paper with some directions, and they have to go looking for a particular store or a shop. And then, once they got the shop, the store, they have to find a product, any product, and they have to describe the product. But the best thing about this, since my opinion, since my point of view, is that they have to be recording a video about what they were doing. Some of them did 4 videos, because they were stopping and recording and so on. But remember that one of the groups did a single video, and they were committing mistakes. They were trying to speak. They didn't know how to say. They didn't know what to what words to use. But anyway, they were on the way doing the video. They were even sometimes speaking Spanish, and that's what I mean here. They are losing the fear to speak. They are trying to get the real interest, them getting emotional to perform in English. They're never mind. They don't know English. They know that they are learning, and during this process, they have to do some mistakes, and they don't care about this. This is the most important part for me.
Hello guys, it's Steven Skoski here. If you remember, we tried to have a Skype session with some of my Spanish classes last week, and it didn't really work out. We had a very poor internet connection, and I'm sure you felt the same way that my students did, upset and quite disappointed. We would like to reschedule our next session to try it again on Tuesday, May 17th at 11 a.m. We would very much like to see you there. We're going to have the same format, so my students will introduce themselves in Spanish. You can each introduce yourselves in English, and then my students have prepared some questions for you in Spanish. Please answer them in Spanish. After we ask our questions, we'd like to have you ask us some questions in English, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you have about America or American culture, or just about our lives in general. Looking forward to seeing you on May 17th at 11 a.m. Until then.
Well, I'm Mauricio and Christian. We are here in PUBG, and the challenge say walk along toward PUBG and turn to the right. Go, come on. Until the electric stairs. Go.
The take significa tomar.
Take them to the next floor, to the second floor. Well, in the second floor, what say? Look to your left, our left. ¿A dónde llegamos? Where we are? We are in
Lazy
Lazy
Homes.
Go, enter and watch. We have one problem with the video.
The heavy.
The chef. What is? How can I say chef? Doesn't know that we record a video in the store, but we are waiting for what? Well, Christian, what do you find in Lazy Homes?
Bed. Pillow.
Pillows? Where are the pillows? Oh, pillows. There are the pillows. Something beds and
Lazy Homes.
Lazy Homes. We find the place. It's a good place. Watch the place. And we return with the t-shirt. Thank you.
To finish with the presentation, I want to say some little parts that my students at the end, I asked them to give me some narratives. So they were giving me like what were their perception about the not only the course as it, but about how do they feel when they try to speak English during their lives. So they gave me some good comments. I'm not telling about the course or about their sessions, but also about their feelings through the English. For example, I want to read one that called my attention, and it was like telling about, she wrote it in English as you see. Yeah. She was telling that I want to read a particular part here. What I am need to learn a lot, but I know that I'm going for a good way. I lost a little the fear of speaking in English. I will improve my discipline and I will practice much more. I will wait for the next semester to continue to attend the tutoring and come with a lot of knowledge for bring to the group. Yes, for example, I like this part. She's telling, because it's a she, I know her, that she's losing a little the fear to speak in front of others or with others as well. So this is what, since my point of view, something that is important, because we are involving our emotions, we are involving our attitudes with the purpose to learn English, and that's something good for my purpose. There is another one here. He wrote in Spanish. He's telling thanks. Okay, I'm going to read it. Gracias al programa Branding English, las expectativas han sido superiores. Me ha ayudado a disponer de todo mi acervo lingüístico para desarrollar cognitivamente un aprendizaje más objetivo. I am not telling with this that we are already achieved our purpose here, our aim. No. What I'm telling is that we are on the way. We are on the path in my point of view. There are a lot of many things to do here with the Cundinamarca University Girardot branch. There are many things here to do, but at least we have started.